My name is Ben.
And my name is Jack.
We are 10 years old and Donna Crandall's nephews. We never met Aunt Donna because she died from cystic fibrosis 2 years before we were born. CF is a genetic disease that makes it hard to breathe and digest food. Aunt Donna was diagnosed with CF when she was 4. Back then, kids typically did not live long enough to go to 5th grade like us. Today, with new medicines and treatments, patients live into their 30s, 40s, and even older.
Having CF is a lot of work. Every day there's hours of treatment and medicine to take. But Aunt Donna never complained and hardly missed work. She wondered how some people could pay for all the things they needed. She hated to go to the hospital because it was boring and lonely. Today our family works hard so other CF patients do not have to worry about all their extra bills. We also go shopping with our parents to fill gift bags that we bring to Albany Med so patients are never bored. We do this to honor our Aunt Donna. This is the Donna Crandall Foundation's 11th anniversary, and for the first time, we are old enough to celebrate with the rest of the family.
We can't wait to see what we've been missing all these years. Hey dude, did you hear at Emerald Leave there's a prize for the cousin who sells the most raffle tickets?
Oh yeah, we got that covered.
Just like the foundation, my husband and I are celebrating our 11th anniversary this year. While the foundation was getting ready to deliver their first bag to Albany Med, I was planning my wedding to my best friend, Jim McGinnis, and looking forward to starting our family. I was still working part-time from home. Sometimes life, especially with CF, is more about adjusting your plan to the way things really are than hoping for what isn't meant to be. Although we went through a year of fertility treatments, they were unsuccessful, and we made peace with the fact that our family portrait would be unique. Today, I'm blessed to have a wonderful husband, 2 rescue dogs, 3 nieces, and 4 nephews, all of whom I love dearly. I grew up doing the usual and not so usual things. In between hospitalizations and illness, I went to proms, had a boyfriend, worked at a pizza parlor, graduated from UAlbany, and moved to Manhattan, where I worked in public relations for 10 years. During my first year in New York, my father died suddenly. 2 years later, my mom died of breast cancer. At 24, I felt truly alone. I can think of more than a few times when having the Crandall Foundation to turn to would have been a great comfort. But I am a fighter, and in many ways, a very lucky girl. After all, in spite of what doctors predicted, I celebrated my 27th bonus birthday in May. I call it my bonus birthday because I was expected to live only to be 18. Plus, 27 sounds a lot sexier than 45. As it turns out, aging with CF comes with all kinds of surprises, and the past few years have proved that. I developed CF-related diabetes, Crohn's disease, and was on IV antibiotics for 100 days. I sleep with oxygen and need it during the day sometimes to breathe. I have osteopenia, and I went from eating everything I wanted, like most people with CF, to learning how to live gluten-free. I attribute these things mostly to the privilege of growing older with a disease that should have taken my life years ago. Although CF has forced me into retirement, I volunteer as much as I can, raising awareness about CF. Each year, I have the privilege of spending the first day of medical school with students at Albany Medical Center, sharing my CF story. While the head of the department talks science, I talk about what it's really like to live with the disease. Ironically, Donna used to do the same talk to residents years ago. Jim and I were introduced to the foundation in 2001 when I was admitted to Albany Med for pneumonia. When the nurse brought in that fabulous gift bag, we became so preoccupied with its contents, it took our minds off our troubles. After all, what could be wrong in a world where complete strangers were so kind and thoughtful?
11 years ago, I was 30 and my daughter Alexa was 3. I had just opened my own insurance business and life was pretty good. I was diagnosed with CF when I was 6 months old and grew up in Ravenna. I was very active and healthy. In fact, my first hospitalization related to CF wasn't until I was a senior in high school. It was St. Patrick's Day and my first roommate was Donna McGinnis. I remember her friends sneaking in green beer to celebrate. After high school, I attended college and then landed in the world of insurance. By the time I was 33, my lungs began collapsing repeatedly and I went from being relatively healthy to being told that I had end-stage CF. I found myself in and out of the hospital every couple of weeks with infections and fevers. I had been admitted to Albany Med for the 3rd time in a month when the doctor said, "Without new lungs, there is nothing more we can do for you." A year later, I went to New York City for an evaluation, and I was listed for a lung transplant. Though I had received several Donna Crandall bags by this point, I didn't realize they are also committed to helping transplant patients. Insurance certainly doesn't cover incidentals like tolls, parking, and hotel accommodations in New York, which is where the foundation stepped in, by sending a check to help cover expenses. Just knowing that I had that money was a huge relief and helped make the whole process more bearable. I received my first double lung transplant on May 5, 2005. Pictures of my old lungs, charcoal colored and shriveled, remind me of the life before I received my healthy pink donor lungs. I woke up the same day of the transplant, trying to take the vent out myself. I was only in the hospital for 9 days and was practically ready to do cartwheels when I got home. I went back to work 6 weeks later. The first thing I noticed after the transplant was quiet. There was no coughing at night, and I could lie in bed without waking up myself and everybody else. Soon after my transplant, I remember sitting with Alexa on the couch, and she said, "Mom, everybody was scared about you having a transplant, but I knew you could do it." Almost exactly a year after transplant, I married my husband Kyle, twice technically. The ceremony took place in a helicopter over Niagara Falls, so we had to get married again on the New York side to make sure it was official. It seemed like life was back to normal, and I was able to do things I hadn't done in years, attending school events, watching Alexa graduate from 3rd grade, and going on family vacations. And then about 2 years in, I was experiencing minor rejection, which got progressively worse. I was getting ready for Alexa's 12th birthday when my lung collapsed. After her party, I had been taken by ambulance to Albany Med. I was flown by helicopter to New York. I was in acute rejection and was listed for another set of lungs. I received my second set of lungs on January 18, 2010. My second transplant was not as easy as the first. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. Due to the anti-rejection drugs, my kidneys were failing. My husband Kyle was tested that June, and miraculously, he was a match. We had surgery at the end of August, and we both did well. One thing CF and transplants have taught me is patience. Well, kind of. I have faced many challenges and obstacles due to CF, but I have been given the gift of life over and over. The foundation has always been there for me, before, during, and after my 3 transplants, helping us get through stressful times. Today, I am back to work selling insurance and running hither and yon to my daughter's volleyball games. We have 2 dogs and 1 cat. In my spare time, I also enjoy fostering animals as my way of giving back. Life is a little crazy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I was lucky enough to be roommates with Donna once, and we were in an exercise study together back in the early 90s. I remember her talking about David and Carrie Ann and how she loved doing what I'm doing now, running around with her daughter to events and skiing lessons. I admired her dedication to her family and certainly didn't realize that one day they would end up being a special part of my family.
Over the years, I've had the great pleasure of working with the Foundation by helping to create written materials and the videos shown at Emerald Eve. As a result, I've heard firsthand how it has truly changed lives. I met a father who took a new job and moved across country seeking a better life for his family, only to be laid off once arriving here. It was heartbreaking to see his tears and listen to how stressful it was trying to make ends meet, never mind his concern for his very ill daughter. I met a mom who had to choose between being docked pay for missing work and sitting next to her son in a hospital bed until the Foundation stepped in. I met a wife who was so appreciative of the hotel accommodations across the street from the hospital. Her husband travels from alone for his care, and they're so grateful for more time together. I wish donors could hear the stories I've heard.
Though we both are a bit camera shy, we are grateful for the chance to share how the Foundation has impacted our lives.
And on behalf of all CF patients, we thank you for your kindness and generosity.
My mom promised Aunt Donna she would never be forgotten.
Because of that promise, our family has met a lot of neat people and made a lot of new friends, like Chris and Don.
They have CF too, and now we try to help make their lives better because that's what Aunt Donna would want us to do.
On behalf of our family, thanks for all your help and support.
We are so glad we finally got an invitation to this party so we too could honor Aunt Donna with all of you.
Do you think we should tell them it's not too late?
Yeah, they should still buy our tickets.
Yeah, our tickets.
Yeah. And that is the way the cookie crumbles.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.